The Avenger might be the smallest car from Jeep in a long time, but it's also arguably its most important. That's because this is its first electric model. And now, after a raft of awards from the global markets, it's arrived in Ireland at a price of $35,995. Before we tell you what you get for your money, let's have a look around the exterior. The Avenger is easily identified as a Jeep, not just because it says it across the bonnet, but because it has a new take on its traditional 7-slot grille. Obviously, as this is an electric car, it isn't a radiator grille, so it doesn't need airflow going through it, so it has a stylised detail design instead. One of the most distinctive aspects of the front of the Avenger are these headlights. They're recessed, for style of course, but also because this is a Jeep, it might go off-road and they're out of harm's way. Same goes for the fog lights here below. While we're at the front, I'll point out one of the first Easter eggs in the car. This little detail here, there's lots of them throughout the car, which is kind of a fun thing. Moving around to the side, the Avenger has plenty of Jeep design details. You won't mistake it for anything else. Not just because it has Jeep embossed in the side sill here. That's part of the black cladding, which makes it obviously an off-road inspired vehicle. And it has this squared arch too, which is very much a Jeep design detail. And here you'll also spot another of the Easter eggs. Like the best off-roaders, the Avenger also gets short overhangs front and rear, allowing it to tackle steeper inclines and descents. Despite all the Jeep details, the Avenger has a personality of its own. It's got this floating roof detail, for instance, and has hidden door handles. At the rear, there's a nice chunky bumper and it has a scuff plate detail in the middle, like serious off-roaders do. It also has these distinctive lights and it's got a little X motif. If you look closely, you'll find another Easter egg. And this little blue E here signifies that this Jeep is electrified. From a practical point of view, the boot holds 380 litres. Now, that's plenty for a weekly shop or a couple of travel cases. If you need more, those back seats split 60-40 and fold down and open up the space to 1,250 litres. The boot floor itself is movable, so there's two levels. You can keep it up at the higher level and perhaps put charging cables, or if you need maximum volume, you just slide that down. In the back, the outer two seats have Isofix mounting points. There's a USB-C port here in the middle, and there are handy little pockets in the backs of the front seats. Reflecting the fact that the Avenger is a modern Jeep, you jump in and notice a 3-spoke steering wheel, which is almost sporty. It's even got this flat bottom to it. On top of that, it's very much a digital cabin. In the middle is a 10.25-inch touchscreen, and it runs wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. In front of the driver is digital instrumentation. The display is available in 2 different sizes, and this larger one is a 10.25-inch screen. The Avenger does without a traditional drive selector. Instead, it gets a push-button arrangement. The big advantage of that is it frees up space in the middle for extra storage. Underneath this magnetic folding cover, you'll find a wireless phone charger, a 12-volt socket and 2 USB ports. Further back and flush with the centre console is an electronic parking brake and the drive mode selector button. Behind that, there is an adjustable section where you can have cup holders of different sizes. And underneath your elbow, there's a storage bin there. For now, all versions of the Avenger use the same electric powertrain. It's got a front-mounted electric motor, so that's good for 156 horsepower, and it uses a lithium-ion battery with a 54 kilowatt-hour gross capacity. On the WLTP cycle, that translates into a 400 kilometer range, though interestingly, Jeep quotes a 550 kilometer range for those driving around town. The range you get in the real world will of course depend on how you drive, but also on which driving mode you select. There's the usual normal, sport and eco driving modes, and as you'd expect, the eco mode is all about efficiency. The sport mode gives a little bit extra response and makes the car feel sportier. Along with those standard driving modes, all versions of the Avenger also get sand, snow and mud driving settings, and those alter the traction control, alter the power output to suit those kind of environments. No matter which drive mode you're in, you can press the B button down here to enhance the brake energy regeneration. That means a bit more energy goes back into the battery when you brake or when you slow down. That's a particularly efficient way to drive when you're around town or at slower speeds. When it comes to charging back up, the Avenger can avail of rapid chargers up to 100 kilowatts or AC 3-phase chargers of 11 kilowatts. There are 3 different versions of the Avenger available. The entry-level model, that's called the Longitude, that's $35,995. Above that is the Altitude, that's $39,495, and it adds a silver dashboard, the bigger instrumentation screen and an electric tailgate. At the top of the range, aptly enough, is the Summit. That comes with LED headlights, 360-degree camera system and adaptive cruise control. That's $42,495. That's our overview of the Jeep Avenger. If you want to read more about it, pop along to our website. It's CompleteCar.ie and it's a great resource for finding your next new car.